Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Designer Friends, where we're talking about lighting trends, which is really exciting because no matter how you look at lighting, it is a very important part of every project. Even if it's just the basic functional thing that you're thinking about, like I literally have to light up this space. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking of lighting. Or you're like, this is the jewelry to my outfit, and this is what I'm thinking when I'm going for lighting. It still is going to make an impact on the space, right? So it's such a big deal to feel confident in what you're choosing. And the great thing is, it's not like lighting can't ever be changed or switched out or anything. So it's not necessarily always that the fixtures are, so important, but what's the fixture's application, or how is it installed, and does that make a difference on the back end of things, how your electrical needs to be run, how your plumbing needs to be run, around all those things. So again, take into consideration all aspects of lighting, and that way also when you're just kind of like, you see something on Pinterest that you're like, oh, I like that. Would that work in my space? Maybe by like breaking it down, you'll be able to actually identify what you like about a certain light, and then, recognize those certain elements, put them together, and then find the right light for you. So also, I will do a follow-up I will do a follow-up video to this that's going to be super basic components of a light, because how this all started was I had the opportunity to go to this lighting trends class, and it was so cool because everything that they were saying was like evident in all of our projects. And so it was just great to have an actual project in mind while listening to why this has been such a big hit in the industry for whatever reason, right? So like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up that's just the basic components of a light, because it really helps you identify, like I said, when you're looking for lighting and you're like, I like this one and I like this one, they're kind of different, I don't really know what it is. Maybe by knowing those components, you'll be able to identify what it is really that you're drawn to about that light, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is light layering. So like there is light in a room, but like I said, some of it is, for a specific task, and that is considered task lighting. So if you have a desk or, a kitchen sink, these are certain spots and identifiers of there will be something being done here and it needs to be lit up. This is not, I'm trying to be pretty. This is, I need light here. So you're going to have task lighting, and then you're going to have also your ambient lighting, which is just like your main lighting. If it's a recessed can or a disc light or a wafer, disc, wafer, whatever you call them, they're like the new version of the can that are very, very, very slim. So if you didn't know that, can lights have come a long way to where those recessed lights are actually, they're not recessed. They're like flat. You can take it, pop them out, change the level. There's like 5 different levels. So yeah, look into that wafer or disc lighting. So that's your ambient lighting. That's like your main lighting. Then you have accent lighting, right? Which is kind of where you think of your jewelry lighting, your chandeliers, your sconces on either side of the fireplace or whatever. So, okay, you have these different lighting groups and you can layer them together. So just because you have recessed lighting or can lighting or a fan in a room doesn't mean that you can't have a pendant somewhere else, or it doesn't mean that you can't have a sconce somewhere else. You can layer light just like you can layer patterns. It just needs to be thoughtfully and strategically done. So here are the trends that, like I said, it's very, very, very cool because we have definitely seen and can be a witness to this in all of our projects. The first thing is mixed metals, right? Like we always tell clients, go ahead and mix your metals because number one, you're going to probably end up having mixed metals anyways between your furniture and your little picture frames and everything, you're probably going to have a mixed metal effect, especially if it's in a kitchen, because you already usually have some sort of gray stainless steel or something, and black or black. But then you don't lock yourself into a metal color. You don't feel like you have this parameter of, I can only be within this certain finish. If you mix your metals, you're keeping yourself open to more. And also, you're not making it so monotonous, right? Like, it's not going to look like I just said oil rub bronze throughout and didn't think of it, or you think about it. But if you are intentional about if you have all oil rub bronze, except for you chose to do a lighter, like a gold or a brass in maybe a more dainty fixture, like a chandelier or a certain sink faucet or your mirrors or whatever, just be intentional about where you bring in that lighter color or that different finish in the lighting. So mixed metals is still a really big thing. Go for it. If you haven't tried it, you're probably going to like it. Plus, again, lighting now actually comes in mixed metal options. So you have chandeliers and vanities that have gold and black or gold and silver even on them. So that's a great piece if, say, you're renovating or remodeling, or you're not trying to change everything and you already have some brushed nickel, but you want to bring in this kind of brass or this black. Well, then you can find a fixture that has both in it, and then that makes it look intentional to go ahead and have the mix of the metals. So the second thing was naturals. I love anything natural. Our team loves anything natural. We definitely appreciate new, modern, man-made, advanced products that come on the market, and we think they're very, very, very cool and thoughtfully designed, and it's awesome and it works in a lot of places. But there is just something that only nature can make, right? Like, so wicker, shades, raffia, just all kinds of woven technique is just so in. It's so nice, especially when you're talking about putting it in a place that has so much harsh features going on, like a bathroom and kitchen where there's already so many hard surfaces. Adding sometimes a layer of light with clear glass, and you're just kind of like, wow, beaming on everything. It can feel like, wow, that's a lot of light. Instead, a textured chandelier or a natural linen chandelier really softens things and really adds a natural touch to an otherwise very newly, very clearly updated man-made space, right? So there's just something wonderful about naturals, and we definitely love and have appreciated all that they have brought to our projects when we've used them. So another trend is lighting as a focal point. So you may not think of lighting as jewelry, but you should in certain areas. If you have something that needs to stand out, if you have something that needs to be highlighted and accented and have a spotlight, a literal spotlight on, use that opportunity thoughtfully. Like, I need this to be lit up. Who's going to see it? What do you want them to see? What is it? What are they doing when they're seeing it? How many people are in this space? How big is this space? It all comes into play. But lighting can do such a good job of playing a partner to whatever that piece is you're trying to show off. So it offers function of light, but it also can be such a great partner in style, whether it's delicate or linear or geometric or natural or whatever. But lighting can be a total focal point in a space. And in fact, it doesn't even need anything around it. So a lot of times you go in and you see these like open foyers, right? Or these open areas. Sometimes you don't need anything there where traditionally you may have thought you needed a table or something. Sometimes all you need is just a great light. Even on a wall now, where we have clients right now doing a wall, they have a long wall. It's a beautiful hallway, and they're doing, we have 2 clients doing this, doing unique trim work, not for artwork, for sconces, right? Because lighting is the artwork. It's the focal point. So, don't forget to treat lighting as the cool factor of the room that it is. So Another big thing is pendants. So people traditionally put pendants over an island or some sort of floating structure, right? That makes sense because it goes, hi, this structure's home. I tell this structure where to stay because it's floating otherwise, right? So pendants are traditionally used a lot over islands, but why not use them in other places? So people are putting them over desks or on either side of beds or on vanities, either side of vanities. So pendants just offer something different because of the way they hang, right? So, and again, this will go into the other video, but they have different parts to them, or more like chain is a different focus on a pendant, or the bottom piece is a different focus when you have a pendant. So plus a pendant is usually paired. You usually pair pendants or have groupings of pendants. So whatever it is, it's multiplied in effect. So pendants are a very cool light feature. And we love having the opportunity to bring those into a project. So on that note, we're gonna go now into pendant trends. So the first thing is glass is starting to be a major detail, a major player in lighting, whereas it used to be just kind of like glass or shade. And then it was like clear glass, opaque glass, or shaded. Well, now it's like seated glass, ribbed glass, which is such a cool modern effect. I mean, we have a client right now that put this ribbed glass. It's amazing. That just like soft but linear effect going on. It's like you've seen the islands or the tables that have like the slatted look. It's kind of like that, but in a light. So the ribbed glass, like I said, seated glass. There is now like glass shades that go from clear to opaque. And so there's so much versatility and uniqueness just in the glass that is such a cool option. Again, especially if you have any other glass feature, like in your kitchen cabinetry glass, or in a certain lamp that you already have in there, or whatever that may be. Glass is just a cool way to really bring in a uniqueness that you might not otherwise have. So instead of where maybe some people, or in the past, people are like, okay, so this space needs this size pendant and we'll put 2 of these here. Well, now it seems like people are kind of scaling down the pendant size and putting more of them, as opposed to, we could fit 2 big ones here. They're going a little bit more delicate in that pendant size, but putting more of it. And we just actually experienced that also in a project that we were doing. We were kind of debating between, do we have these 2 more substantial pieces, and they were the same exact light fixture. It just came in 2 different sizes. And we were like, or do we scale it down and have 3 of them? And ultimately we went with the 3, and it was the best decision. It didn't take away, from anything, because it had a really great backdrop behind it of a range. And so it was like, we don't really want to, make too much of the light a focal point. But it worked out perfectly. And in saying that, in talking about that kind of light layering, that can be layering as in like the way it's coming this way, but also the way that people are viewing it, from back to front. If they walk in and you have an open floor plan, think about the fact that you're going to have a light here in your foyer, and then they're going to see a little bit further, and they're going to have a light here in the hallway, and then they're going to see a little bit further and have a light maybe dropping down in your kitchen, and then out, so think about all the layers of light when you're doing that. Kind of jumped from back and forth, but so there's a ton of wood options in lighting now, in all different ranges of stains. That's another way to kind of get a natural element, but without feeling like, I'm a dude, I didn't want to go boho, girly. So wood is a way to get the warmth that metal doesn't bring. It can't, a warmer metal also brings a little bit more warmth, but kind of like a hominess warmth. Sorry about the air going on and off. A hominess warmth wood will bring to that. And there's so many different shades of that. Stains of that. So don't forget that lighting doesn't have to be metal. It can be, there's a lot of other materials. In fact, that was one of the other things was alabaster is one of the newer, like really big trends. And y'all, even if you're not going to buy an alabaster light, just look up alabaster lighting. It's a very, very, very cool. It's like stone in a light, but like more delicate. It's really great. And the other thing is bronzes. Where it used to be kind of oil rub bronze was the only bronze there. There's now like more of a polished bronze, and there's more copper bronzes, and there's more like burnished bronze. And so there's really becoming a range even within the typical metallic colors themselves. They are even expanding within their own color families, which is really cool. Okay, so I'm going to jump into kitchen lighting trends. So we talked about smaller pendants versus larger. Large islands, that's a trend, obviously, which goes in terms of lighting. So the lighting companies are seeing that islands are getting bigger and bigger, and that's how they're placing and doing the lighting takeoff sheets. They're seeing that there's these major islands happening, and we can definitely attest to that. And then a non-invasive chandelier. That's, we do want lighting to make a statement, of course. And it's a great opportunity to do so. And like we said, it has dual function and all that, but we don't want it to take away from everything else that we just put so much hard work into in the room, right? So we do want, sometimes to see through it, or we do sometimes want it to be completely hidden, the bulb actually, as in like no, opaque or shaded or whatever that may be, because we feel like seeing that bulb would be too harsh for the space or whatever, or it would be too distracting for the space. So being mindful and I love that this is a kitchen trend, because we say the same thing. Like we were just talking about, if you've got this beautiful hood, or you found this beautiful countertop and you took it up the backsplash, don't take away from it with the lighting. You know what I mean? Like really make sure that it is the right statement and not an overstatement when you're doing that. So desert modern is actually the term that they quoted, that they called the trendy kind of color that's coming around in kitchens. And we can definitely attest to that. So like blonde woods, 100%. Even leaning into peachy pinks and people being okay with that. We have actually found that where most people used to say, I don't want any orange, any red in my floors, I definitely don't want pink, people are now okay with red or pink. They still don't really want orange, like true orange, like pumpkin orange. They don't really want that anymore, but people are okay with pink hues and pink undertones. And, Sherwin-Williams even had like a color of the year or color of the month at some point with this reddened earth. And it's a reddy color, but, coming off of, like we always say, we went for years where white and grays were all the rage, right? And that was like everything you found. I love that colors kind of coming in hot, I love that. So the desert modern seems like, because here's the thing, color on walls is one thing, but companies that are making lighting and cabinets, they're not just going to go in and start putting red on everything, but I love that they're like dipping a little bit into that hue by kind of going desert modern, like really getting into sandy and sunset, sort of vibes. I love that. So again, like we're always kind of talking about in the color conversations videos, white, where it was playing such a big role and it still is, it's now being partnered with so much color as opposed to being partnered against gray, and so I love that. I love that there's color coming into actual building products, actually stuff on the market. So there's also a lot of minimalistic stuff is coming in. So where people have found a great light fixture, they then think, I don't want any cabinet hardware because I don't want anything to take away from this metallic piece that I found. Or they found a lighting that had just the perfect finish and it was so rare or unique or perfect to that space that they thought, I'm not going to be able to match it. I don't want any other cabinet hardware, So people are doing without cabinet hardware. And we have definitely seen this. The push to open or the you open them from the top. They've got so many unique things and ways to open doors now. Like if you haven't been to a cabinet showroom, they're so fun. But like clean lines and no hardware is even becoming a trend in kitchens so that lighting can be the statement pieces truer than like if you were to have a bunch of other hardware in there. And again, this is going to depend on your kitchen, how many knobs you might have. If your island is bigger than your, or how your triangle is set up. If your island's a different color than your perimeters and you think, in my perimeters, they're a different color, you don't have to have hardware there, but you could have hardware on your island if it's, stained or a painted color or whatever. So, just people are kind of taking away hardware in usual places to let the lighting be more of that focal point like we were talking about. Matte finishes, huge, right? We even have said, look, if you've got something and you think it looks cheap because it's glossy, spray it with some matte poly spray paint. It'll change it up completely. So matte finishes are big. They are very modern, but they also casualize when you need it to be a little bit more casual, So matte finishes are really big. We love them. Use strategically, right? Make sure that it's on somewhere where you actually don't want a sheen. And lighting is a fun way to do that because when you have the light on, it obviously is going to glow up no matter what, right? But when it's off, then it's really less noticeable, right? Because it's not even shiny. So not even natural light shining off of it. The matte finish makes things really understated. And we really have found that that's worked really well in projects. And then saturated colors. So like I said, people are not balancing white out with gray as much anymore. And if they are, it's gray with a color. They're really bringing color into things. So there's no such thing as kind of too bold. There is a such thing as too bold. There is. But we tell clients, like when we're working with them, we're not going to let you do anything silly. But in terms of trends, bold is great right now because people got so bored, with just gray and white for so long. And again, gray and white still works and it's classic and timeless. It's just got overplayed. And so, saturated colors are a trend and I love that. So bathroom light trends, and then I'll wrap it up. Sorry, I've been talking. I was actually so excited to tell you guys all about this. So spa sanctuaries. We almost all the time, if we're doing a whole house remodel, when we are talking about that primary bathroom where they're going to spend most of their time, it always shifts from, no matter what the mood of the house is, no matter what all tile and countertops we've picked out, no matter if the countertops are even the same, something shifts into wanting to go to some sort of spa retreat in that bathroom. So I love that. And the light should play accordingly, right? So would pendants feel softer in that space versus, an overhead? Or would sconces work better? Would it be better to layer some light in there? Or would it be better to close off? Would it be an opaque shade so you don't see the actual bulb? Or do you need, light in this bathroom? Is it too dark? There's lots to think about, but with the overall mindset of we want this to feel like a sanctuary in comparison to the rest of the home. So it's not like you have to walk in and there's stones and waterfalls and music playing. It's not like that. It's just in comparison to the mood and the vibe of the rest of the house. When you walk in here, how does it feel a little more geared towards relaxation and refreshment? Freestanding tubs are huge. We a lot of times are ripping out the outskirts of a tub, leaving the same floor plan that a bathroom is, just ripping out the outskirts of that tub and putting a freestanding one in because they don't want all the extra around it. They want the floor space. So, which by the way, that makes a big difference in a bathroom. Just getting new tile, not really changing your layout, but just taking out that tub, putting a freestanding one in, and getting more visual floor space makes it feel bigger. But on the lighting note of that, that's a great opportunity for a nice chandelier over the tub after you get your CO. But you know, that's just a big trend now. That is a big trend, is lighting near something focal that you want to be a partner in a focal point, right? Open shelving in bathrooms is getting big. So just like it did in kitchens, now it's going to bathrooms. So why not, right? If you can have all these pretty aesthetic jars and things that are now available on the market, you know, nobody's gonna like put all their like medicine bottles up there or anything, but there's so much prettiness that people are like, I want to display this. So if you are that type of person, open shelving is a big trend in bathrooms, and you can really get away with it almost anywhere if you make it look intentional and pull it together, partner it with something else in the room, right? Natural tile. So we say all the time, it's so funny that like travertine and just raw looking tile, just so earthy, even clay looking tile is so in, and people are just loving that softness that something that feels like it came straight from the earth offers. You know what I mean? And I think it almost feels a little more custom. Like this isn't a builder spec home. You know, this is something that was, you know, made to look like a rock. You know, I mean, it just adds a little bit more layer, I would say. Just another layer of, I paid attention to this bathroom when you're installing it. So another big trend that we learned about, we actually have not done this, but was floating vanities with lighting underneath. So I could totally see this being used in a space that didn't, like we were just talking about with the freestanding tubs, that you needed to visually see as much floor space as you could, right? Like maybe it was super small, or just the footprint didn't give you a lot of wiggle room to move around. A floating vanity, especially that's underlit, would really visually make that bathroom space feel as absolutely big and long as and open as it could by doing that. Wallpaper. I like almost jumped out of my seat when he said that, because I was like, yeah. We're probably on like our 5th project where the bathrooms are in wallpaper right now, because it's closed off, so it's not like it has to match everything else, right? It's generally a good shape. You know, it's got enough exposure on the walls to be seen, but it's also got enough on the walls, doors and showers and everything, to where it's not just like all wallpaper. And also mirrors play really fun with wallpaper, and in bathrooms you always have mirrors and glass and stuff. So wallpapers are a great opportunity to go bring style and fun and customization and a little bit of whimsy, or a little bit of like sass, or a little bit of like structure, whatever that needs, to your home space or to your business's space. Wallpaper in the bathroom is just a really great option. And then in saying that, that's a really fun way to play off of your lighting, or have your lighting play off of that, right? Like, what do the elements in the wallpaper suggest? Is it something dainty, something strong, something harsh, something linear, something geometric, something, you know, natural, whatever that may be? How does your lighting coordinate with that, right? Now, one of the biggest things was, in showers now, people are putting can fan combos, which is like a recessed light or a can light or whatever, but it's also got the fan around it. It's so like, you talk about function and style, and it just takes, you know, the eye away from even looking at it, and it says, I'm just here to spotlight all this tile, right? Which is perfect, because we need it to be functional over the shower. But showers where all the tile is. And so that's typically where you pay the most attention to in the bathroom, especially if you've got a great fixture or a niche, you know, that stands out. So those were all of the lighting trends that we learned about. Like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up video with lighting components so that hopefully it'll help you guys kind of identify what you love about a certain lighting or what you don't love about the lighting that you have in your house now, you know, or what might you want to change about it. But I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing this. Like I said, I was so overexcited, like so excited when I was hearing all this, because our projects, for the most part, except for the floating vanities, really truly testify to these trends. And I think that it's such a fun thing to think about and to listen to, because if lighting really is such a statement piece and such an impactful piece of a project, if you haven't paid attention to it, you know, what could you be missing? And, you know, in not talking about all the back wiring stuff and all that, it is super simple to change a fixture. So, you know, we have time and time again seen we just did a staging a few weeks ago where we told the people, we think you should get 2 new fixtures right here. And it changed before we even brought in furniture. It changed everything just to change them. So, yeah, don't forget to be intentional about the lighting in your space. And if you need help kind of identifying what would work or saying yes or no before you kind of make this big purchase, reach out to us. We'd love to help. And be on the lookout for that other video. And I'll put it up as soon as I can. And subscribe if you want to be designer friends with us. We'd love to have you. See you guys next time. Bye.